Welcome to Tassie's Football Fix for another week. I'm Damien Gill from FFT, and as always, I'm joined by Alex Luttrell from the Mercury to talk through a big weekend of the Victory League. Well, Alex, it's not just Victory League on the horizon. We've huge fortnight of football. The weekend just gone, a big top of the table clash. More clashes coming this weekend, and then the FFA Cup next week.
Yeah, mate, so excited for Tuesday night. South Hobart versus Tuggeranong United, the team from the ACT. History will be made at KG5, mate. I'm really hoping South get the win to represent Tassie, but time will tell.
Time will tell indeed. First, we'll recap last round. Of course, it was a big round showcase with a top of the table clash. We'll get to that one a little bit later. First of all, Lonnie City got their first away win in the history of the Victory League, knocking off Kingborough Lions down at the Lions Den.
Yeah, mate, a rare win for Launceston, their second ever in the 2 years so far of the Victory League. 0-0 at half-time, though. It was a very cagey affair, scrappy, you probably could say. Launceston were probably the better side if you had to pick one in the first half. Second half, though, 4 minutes in, the 49th minute, Nathan Bartlett, the captain for Launceston City, netted a real ripper of a goal, mate. 35 yards, chipped Andrew Duncan, the Kingborough goalkeeper, into the left corner. Brilliant goal. For most of the second half, though, it ebbed and flowed a little bit, not many chances until Andy Compain for Launceston, sitting across the Gukyeong Kim, headed into the left upright. It fell to Adam Hedge, the Lions substitute. He's tried to clear it, miscleared it, and it's bundled into the opposite corner. So that sent them 2-0 to the good before Danny Cohen, just a few minutes later, in the 83rd minute, netted a late consolation for Kingborough, but it was not to be as City walked over the chocolates, mate.
They did indeed, and I hate to say I told you so, Ludders, but I did tell you so.
Yeah.
Launceston City, too good in that one. It was a scrappy affair down at the Den. The next match that went on the weekend, Olympia Warriors made it 2 from 2 at Valley Road, just holding on against a valiant Devonport outfit.
Yeah, mate, what a fiery affair that was. There were 2 red cards in the end, but first off, obviously it finished 2-1. Both Olympia's goals came in the first half from Alex Holmes and Emmanuel Sakiris, sent the 2-0 to the good before Corey Vickers, 5 minutes into the second half, reduced the deficit a little bit, netting one to make it 2-1. Late in the game, though, bit of fire there. Corey Vickers, the man who scored, sent in a bit of a studs-up challenge on Warren Madawa. It wasn't a great tackle at all, and Lockie Nichols remonstrated, retaliated a little bit, and Vickers apparently, he looked to appear to slap Nichols in the face, and both of them were sent off in the end as both sides finished with 10 men, but that's how the score stayed.
Bit of argy-bargy in that one there was for sure, but Olympia had the last laugh. They took the chocolates, as you said, and made history. Of course, there's only the second team to take more than one win away from Valley Road, so a big result for them.
Of course, definitely, mate.
Absolutely. The next match of the round saw Northern Rangers come from behind to defeat Glenorchy Knights at home.
Yeah, good win for them. Monya Canberra actually scored for the Knights first before Nicola Atkinson netted one to restore parity, 1-1. Todd Hinkson, though, the captain extraordinaire, stepped up in the second half, netting a brace as the Rangers walked away with a good win just to keep them up there and extend their lead above Devonport in the top 4, and it looks like the Victory Cup spots are all but settled, mate.
Yeah, they all look fairly cemented. The bearded skipper, he was good, wasn't he? He's always one I like to watch, Todd Hingston, and I think he's got a little competition with Ryan McCarriger for goals, so I don't know where that sits, but he'll be looking pretty good after the weekend. The last game of the round, it was a big talking point going into the weekend. It ended up being a talking point, but for different reasons. The first 0-0 in the history of the Victory League between Tilford Zebras and South Hobart. A top-of-the-table stalemate, Ludders.
Yeah, mate, it was a brilliant game to watch, make no mistake. It may have been a 0-0 draw, but there were chances at both ends throughout the game. 10 shots on target for the Zebras, only 3 for South Hobart. But South probably controlled the best of the play. Zebras tended to knock it long a little bit, but it was a great game to watch, great spectacle, worthy of the top 2 teams in the competition. In the end, though, disappointingly, the biggest talking point was the 89th minute sending off of Kane Pearce, the South Hobart goalkeeper, his second of the season.
Bubble in that cest bit down there, and off it goes. And Pearce is going to get a booking here. Red card. And he's going to get extra weeks for the clap in the face. I'll give you the hot tip right now. You don't do that to filthy Craig Phillips.
So he will miss, confirmed recently that he will miss the next 2 games, and that will include the FFA Cup round of 32 fixture against Tuggeranong United. So very disappointing for him. and his coach, Ken Morton.
Massive blow for South Hobart.
Yeah.
Probably the last player they could have missing from their starting 11. I think he's hugely important. And now we've just got to wait and see what Ken Morton does to try and get themselves a new goalkeeper or someone in time for the FFA Cup, because that's a crucial clash, not just for South Hobart, but I think for the state.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, whispers are he's looking to stay in Melbourne, but he's also said to me recently that he'll stay with Mark Monker, the reserve goalkeeper, so he might play out the next 2 games.
One to watch there for sure, Ludders. There's another round of the Victory League on its way this weekend. It all kicks off on Friday night with Glenorchy Knights taking on Kingborough Lions. Glenorchy Knights would be smelling a win there, I reckon, off the back of last weekend's results. And they'd have their eyes on Kingborough Lions spot on the ladder, I reckon, Ludders.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with Glenorchy for this one. In a very tight and probably scrappy affair. I think that some of the youngsters for the Knights will have the pace over the Kingborough players. I reckon 2-1. What about you, mate?
3-1. Glenorchy Knights, I think they'll be far too good. I think Shay Hickey will have a big say in this one. He's just a bit of a class above when it comes to these 2 teams. So I think he'll be key in that clash, but I think they'll get the chocolates there. Next game of the round is Launceston City returning home to take on Devonport. Lonnie City, of course, will be up and about after an away win, an all too rare win for them. Do you think they can get another win this weekend?
I'd love to say they could, mate. Just second or double 2 weeks in a row, 2 wins. But I think that Devonport will get over the line this one quite comfortably. I reckon they'll probably net about 4 goals. Might end 4-1. Launceston might get one on the board.
Devonport, far too good for mine. My boy, Joel Stone, I think will have a big say in this one. I think he might put a couple in the back of the net and set up some teammates, but of course Corey Vickers will be missing, so there is a hole that Lonnie City may be able to exploit.
Perhaps.
We'll see. Next match is a big one. It's first versus fourth. South Hobart host Northern Rangers at KG5 from 4 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, well, mate, this was the last game that Kane Pearce was sent off for South Hobart back in a few weeks ago. I think that South will get the points here. Doesn't really. I mean, I know Kane is a big omission for them. Obviously, the suspension, but I think South will be too good. It could be ugly, but I reckon 4-1 again will be the score for this one for South.
I think it will be tighter than that. Let's remember Northern Rangers did knock off South Hobart in Hobart earlier on in the year, so I'm inclined to go with South Hobart, but only just, and I think there might be a bit of man management there on the part of Ken Morton approaching the FFA Cup match. The last game of the round is Olympia Warriors taking on Tilford Zebras. The traditional rivalry, always a great game to watch. Who do you like for it?
Arguably the best game of the round, mate. I think it is. It's going to be a huge Saturday night fixture. I'm going with the Zebras 2-1 to get the points at Warrior Park. They did it last time. They won 1-0 on the smaller pitch. I think they'll do it again this time. Yeah,
Zebras 3-0 for mine. I think they're looking really, really good. Defensive's really tight for them. I think they'll get the chocolates in a fiery traditional rivalry as they always are over at Warrior Park. As we've mentioned earlier, a huge clash coming up next Tuesday. It's the Westfield FFA Cup round of 32 and it sees South Hobart host Tuggeranong United from ACT at our home of football, KG5 Football Park. Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Get along because we don't see games like this often enough in Hobart. So show your support for Tasmanian football. Quick one, Ludders. Who's your tip for that?
South. Easily. I reckon they'll do them in quite comfortably. I know that Tuggeranong have a 6'5" centre forward, but I think they'll get the job done. Speaking to Sydney United coach Mark Rudin and Campbelltown coach Joe Mullen earlier, they're both siding with South Hobart. They both think they'll get the chocolates just simply because of the winning culture that Ken Morton brings to the side. So I'm going to stick with that.
Well, that's a good enough reason for me. I'm with South Hobart as well. And I think Andy Brennan might just shine on the big stage. That's all we got time for this week on Tassie Football Fix. As always, head to footballfedtas.com.au for more videos and more action throughout the weekend. But that's all for us from now.